Luca Maxwell, a teenager, wakes up in a locked room with his father shouting and blaming him for killing his sister and mother. Having no idea what he did and what his father is talking about, he soon learns a demonic entity is hunting him, wanting to possess him in order to perform a demonic ceremony. Hi folks, I'm R, and welcome to a story which will scare you to the point of leaving your lights on when you sleep, at least for a couple of nights. Keep in mind that this video will have spoilers, and with that said, let's begin. The protagonist, being a boy called Luca, wakes up in a locked room with his father on the other side of the door shouting at him to why he did something so gruesome to their family. Luca, not knowing what the father is talking about, takes a look at two grisly photographs being severed parts of human remains. Horrified to the photos, knowing they belong to his mother and sister, he becomes sick, confused to what has happened to them.
Your blood. What the hell were you thinking? What in the hell crossed your mind? What the fuck is happening to you? You've ruined our family. What am I gonna do now?
As Luca tries to find a way out, the father, in a broken, angry yet defeated tone, cries that Luca is not his son and he should have listened to the priest when Luca manages to find a way out of the room. Paranormal events soon start to occur, with items appearing and disappearing right in front of Luca. Exploring the house, which is eerily empty with no sign of his father anywhere, Luca comes across a gift box presented to him by his parents and sister, which contains an old Polaroid camera. As he tries to make sense of it all, the TV turns on its own, reporting on another familicide by someone called MADiSON Hale, who killed her entire family during a witchcraft ceremony, who gets killed herself after being shot by a police officer. This results to the Hale family's assets being auctioned and sold, apart from the very same Polaroid camera Luca is holding, which no one seemed to want to buy as if it is cursed. Taking the camera, Luca continues exploring the surreal, unfamiliar house of his grandfather, which is ever-changing when he realizes that he's not alone, with a presence haunting the house with no sign of his father anywhere. Luca soon comes across a safe where he finds his notebook in, which he reads, having harrowing sketches of Luca's tormented mind, having images of his family's body parts, clearly fantasizing about his family's death, with a sketch of his father's head, something he failed to do, just getting away with killing his sister and mother. Luca, horrified to these findings, with no recollection of these drawings, tries to unravel the mysteries surrounding this incident. He points out that this is his grandfather's house, a place he hasn't been to since his childhood. Luca then finds a tape recorded by their priest called Thomas, who in the recording speaks about demonic possessions and how at certain situations it's better to let the demon attain what they need, so maybe they'd be satisfied to leave the host's body on its own accord. The priest continues that the demon needs conduits to travel between worlds, but even without the conduits, after the contact has been already made, the demon can linger and claim the body. In this case, the conduit seems to be the camera. The first signs of possession are explained to be withdrawal from friends and family, even showing aggression and violence, which clearly shows that the priest had already told Luca's father, John, that he is showing signs of possession, with the father not believing the priest until it became too late and Luca brutally killed his mother and sister. This explains why Luca has memory lapses, as he is partially possessed, in the process of completely losing control. As the possession progresses, certain symptoms such as dizziness, nausea, and headaches act as indications. When possession is in later stages, the demon implements hallucinations and other traumatic events to make the host lose sanity and control of their own body. The priest ends the recording by mentioning that several cases of possessions become worse around insects, especially cockroaches, who advises the listener to steer clear of any insects. Luca, in denial, cries that he is not possessed, being upset that the father contacted the priest when he suffers other symptoms such as severe nausea and headaches, knowing he needs to act fast before it's too late. Luca continues going to the basement where he reaches the well, which MADiSON used to throw the bodies of her family in, which has a cover with cockroaches crawling around, which the priest mentions are something making possessions much worse. The well has crime scene tapes around it, representing the time the police found the bodies of MADiSON's family in the well, decomposing and creating a gruesome scenery. After managing to open the cover, Luca, having a strange sensation as if being guided by an entity, goes down the well as if letting whatever demon is trying to possess him to attain what they need so they can leave Luca alone. The place changing all the time and being flooded with disgusting water, Luca comes across a police radio belonging to someone called Officer Russell. Picking up the radio, he continues on exploring the place in hopes of finding whatever the demon wants. That's when suddenly, Luca comes across a demonic fleshy being hunting and harassing him. The police radio then starts playing a recording of Officer Russell, who narrated a case in June 17, 1987. The case involves MADiSON Hale's massacre, where she comes across a well which she investigates, encountering mutilated severed body parts which MADiSON was the culprit of. Suddenly, in connection to the recording, Luca starts hallucinating, visualizing what Officer Russell might have observed. Officer Russell then comes across a presence in the well, at first thinking it could be MADiSON, when she starts to notice the unusual behavior of the being, becoming horrified when the entity attacks her and seemingly ends her life. Luca correspondingly experiences the same horrifying events with an entity attacking him, which changes the environment back to normal when Luca as a result starts questioning his own sanity, fully understanding that his possession is progressing. Hearing voices and traumatized by this discovery, an entity appears suddenly which makes Luca lose his consciousness and wake up in a surreal maze-like world riddled with doors. Managing to go through one of the doors, Luca enters his grandparents' house, where he goes to their room, finding his grandmother's diary, who was called Elizabeth. In her diary, she writes about a strange presence hunting her in the house, a presence she is sure to exist with no one believing her. With the husband called Albert leaving the house frequently for work, Elizabeth experiences strange events, with her jewelry scattering around the house all the time. She soon starts to lose her vision, with doctors believing it's a new type of cataracts, with no medication helping her, which she mentions to how terrified she would become being left alone in the house, with no eyesight. Exploring the room, Luca witnesses the large number of medication their grandmother used to take at a young age, displaying how sick she truly was. Moving further into the house, Luca finds another tape by the priest who expands more on cases of possession, on how the entities sometimes want to finish unresolved matters. That's when the host victim goes through a process called departure. This process includes astral travels, traveling to different dimensions in reality and time, experiencing events which shouldn't be possible. Traveling further down the house, Luca comes across his grandfather's notes on rituals to contact the dead, realizing despite what they thought of him becoming lazy, the grandfather in fact was trying to contact his recently deceased wife, Elizabeth. Luca then encounters newspaper clippings of MADiSON Hale's murder case, which show that Luca's father has been investigating her, lying to Luca that he's helping the grandfather with repairing the house. Luca going to the cellar, which seems to be a never-ending maze. He becomes haunted by an old lady with blood on her when he reaches a room filled with crosses symbolizing death. He soon enters a graveyard, confused to how any of this is possible, which all link to what the priest said, that the victim of possession often astral travels to different places in space and time, and even sometimes different dimensions. Going down another well, Luca finds himself in St. Jupiter's Cathedral, a rundown place which seemingly had many tragedies and incidents linked to it, including the MADiSON Hale's massacre. Taking a picture of a board having the year 1987 written on it, Luca teleports into a different world, back to the cathedral, being in a completely clean and tidy condition. Going to a confession booth, Luca listens to the confession of Nancy from 1951, who confesses to killing her husband, Hans, who was an officer in charge of gas chambers in Nazi Germany, which ultimately leads to the priest informing the police in order to arrest Nancy. Luca coming across MADiSON's coffin, he picks up her skull as if being guided to do so, and then teleports back to his grandfather's house, where he will eventually place the skull alongside some other items in a ritualistic room. A voice message by Priest Thomas left for John explains that MADiSON Hale tried to complete an ancient ritual requiring 7 sacrifices before she died. Therefore, it is her who is trying to possess Luca in order to complete her demonic ritual. Luca soon finds a book expanding on this ritual, explaining the 7 sacrifices must have certain body parts removed in order to form one full body, with each part coming from a different sacrifice, which is kept ambiguous to what they are needed for. A vase of ashes is then required to complete a ritual known as body transference, which would seemingly allow a ghost transfer into the host's body, which correlates to the ritualistic room Luca has set up, with his body being guided to collect certain items to perform this ritual. Finding another piece of diary from his grandma dated 1972, she mentions how the rooms in the house are changing and moving, making her lose directions and get lost in the house. Finding another tape by Priest Thomas, Luca finds out that the camera he has been using all along was used as a conduit for Luca to become possessed, an item of sentimental value which belonged to MADiSON. As Luca traverses through the house, a recording explains that the first 2 victims of MADiSON were her parents, Judith and Robert, with the other 2 being called Len Jamie and Drake Fletcher. This means MADiSON, by possessing Luca, forcing him to kill his parents and sister, would be able to fulfill her ritual, offering 7 sacrifices. Luca then gets locked in a room, listening to an argument Albert and Elizabeth had about how she is not sick and that she has been cursed since he brought in a book called Blue Knees, a horrifying book which seems to have been intended for kids, but for their son, John. As in the past, people had a twisted sense of care and entertainment for children. Exploring the surreal world deeper, Luca finds the book called Blue Knees, something Elizabeth, his grandmother, was talking about. Blue Knees is about an unknown creature who was very lonely. His loneliness led to him losing his eyeballs, rolling down his house. As he crawled looking for his eyes days on end, he sustained bruised blue knees, hence being known as Blue Knees. Blue Knees till this day is thought to be lurking in the shadows under beds looking for his eyeballs, with whoever encountering this entity losing their own eyesight, with them going into dust. That is what the grandmother thought to be the culprit of her losing her sight and the strange sounds she was hearing in the house. That is why she lit the house with candles, believing brightness deters this entity. This is when Blue Knees attacks Luca repeatedly, with Luca using the camera flash to scare off the entity. Meanwhile, Luca plays different gramophones placed in different rooms, playing a specific song dedicated to Blue Knees, which provides them with 2 eyeballs seemingly belonging to Blue Knees. As Luca proceeds with his mission, he gets attacked by this entity many more times, unable to protect himself, being teleported to different parts of the house. Luca starts noticing how he's losing control over his own body when he willingly goes to the room where he set up the ritual for body transference, where he takes his own life in order to stop MADiSON taking over him, ending the story there and then. That is what he thinks until he wakes up taking a deep, sharp breath, with the camera taking a picture of him, which comes out as a black image. This of course implies that MADiSON has successfully overtaken Luca's body, as dark images point towards her presence. As Luca mentioned earlier, the camera cannot take pictures of her, with the photographs burning. Now what remains a mystery is what is the connection between Blue Knees and MADiSON, and why Blue Knees is a significant character in the story, who cursed his grandmother, which eventually led to her death. As the story is very ambiguous and left for own interpretation, this part is heavily based on my own theory. Blue Knees seems to be an old folklore which has been passed down history. This entity seems to be someone who initially targeted MADiSON in order to give him a physical body. The entire witchcraft MADiSON wanted to perform revolves around sacrificing 7 victims in order to form one body. A body to give to Blue Knees. For that, Blue Knees needed a final victim, a victim whose ashes would be present in the witchcraft, ashes that would come from someone called Elizabeth Maxwell, Luca's grandmother, someone whom Blue Knees hunted and tormented until her death. As MADiSON died with her ritual unfulfilled, the curse was passed down to Elizabeth's descendant, her grandchild, Luca, someone who would be possessed by MADiSON, a follower of Blue Knees. With Luca dead and MADiSON taking over his body, there seems to be a possibility now with Blue Knees getting the body he desired so much. And that's it for this video, folks. If you enjoyed it, you can stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you have any game requests, make sure to tag me or DM me on my Twitter. It's been your host Star. Until the next time, have a fantastic day.